Just days after the battle, Berkman boarded a train for Pittsburgh. Goldman stayed behind.
His face bent low to mine, and he whispered, "Comrade, you will be with me to the last. You will proclaim that I gave what was dearest to me for an ideal, for the great, suffering people."
Berkman had only $15 in his pocket. Within the week, Goldman would wire him another $20 to purchase a new suit and a gun.
The country looks young and alluring in the early morning sunshine. But my thoughts are busy with Homestead. The removal of a tyrant is not merely justifiable, it is the highest duty of every revolutionist. Human life is indeed sacred and inviolate, but the killing of a tyrant, of an enemy of the people, is in no way to be considered as the taking of a life.
As Berkman's train sped toward Pittsburgh, an order flashed across the wires.
Put the division under arms and move at once, with ammunition, to the support of the Sheriff of Allegheny County at Homestead. Robert E. Patterson, Governor.
Pittsburgh's political bosses had been pressuring the governor. Given the sheriff's failure to gain control of the mill, Patterson agreed to call out the state militia. The Amalgamated and the local government had continued to patrol the town and maintain order after the battle, even going so far as to repair Frick's fence. But they were not prepared for the arrival of troops.
You must show the world that you desire to maintain the peace, along with your rights. Welcome the soldiers. They are our friends.
Don't you believe it, man? They are coming here because that damn murderer Frick wants them. We have made the damn company rich, and now they send the soldiers here to shoot us down like the Pinkerton thugs have tried to.
There is a good deal of truth in what the brother before me said. I'm afraid it's bad to let them in. The blacklegs might be hiding in the rear. But then again, you can't stand up against them. They are not Pinkertons. And we can't fight the government of Pennsylvania.
The following morning, on July 12th, the entire community stood ready at the train station. They had prepared an elaborate welcome, hoping to convince the soldiers to defend their rights rather than the company's. Two hours later, General Snowden and 8,000 troops finally appeared, but not as expected. Avoiding the Homestead station, the soldiers debarked outside of town, marched in on foot, and immediately surrounded the mill. With the troops in town, the Carnegie Company was able to begin operations. Managers and clerks pitched in from the start. Bunkhouses and canteens were built for the new workforce. With few exceptions, former employees were not among the new hires.
Mr. Carnegie may be able to get non-union laborers, but without rollers, heaters, shearers, cutters, and other skilled workmen, the mills cannot start. And it is this class of men who will hold out to the last.
Contrary to O'Donnell's prediction, on July 15th, smoke could be seen rising from the Homestead mill for the first time since the lockout. Thanks to the mill's high degree of mechanization, the new unskilled workforce was producing steel. On July 23rd, Henry Clay Frick returned from lunch to finish off a routine day's work. Posing as an employment agent, Alexander Berkman had been trying to see him all morning. Outside Frick's office, the anarchist nervously paced the hall. By 2 o'clock, he could no longer stand the wait. He pushed his way into Frick's office and fired 2 shots.
Dead, I wonder? I must be sure. My eyes meet Frick's. His face is ashen gray. Blood is oozing from his neck. A strange feeling of shame comes over me. But the next moment I am filled with anger at this sentiment so unworthy of a revolutionist.
A crowd gathered as Berkman was restrained behind the second-story window. When the doctors arrived, Frick refused anesthesia in order to help them locate and remove the bullets. Then he signed some letters before leaving for home. The attempt on Frick's life shocked the nation. But the man himself remained unshaken.
I do not think I shall die. But whether I do or not, the company will pursue the same policy, and it will win.
3 cheers for the man who shot Frick!
Private W.L. Imes, a young militiaman stationed in Homestead, applauded Berkman's act. His commanding officer did not tolerate his candor. Imes was strung up by the thumbs until he lost consciousness, then drummed out of town with his head shaved. In a fashionable section of Pittsburgh, Frick lay in bed recovering from his wounds. Across the hall, Mrs. Frick lay convalescing as well. 2 days after the battle, she had given birth to a son. Neither mother nor child was well. Despite his doctor's orders to rest, Frick continued to attend to company business and to personally supervise the situation in Homestead. The Republican Party feared that the crisis would endanger President Harrison's re-election. They sent party regular John Milholland to meet with Frick.
Arriving in Pittsburgh, I learned that the Iron Master was in bed, still suffering severely from the effect of his wounds. Entirely courteous, Mr. Frick made it clear that even if Mr. Carnegie's consent was reinforced by the Cabinet, the Senate, and the House of Representatives, he, Frick, would not deviate 1 iota from the lines he had laid out to follow. His powerful jaws came together like a steel trap when he referred to the murderous exhibitions of the strikers. Yet, as he lay there, as white almost as the sheet itself, I realized that I was talking to a man of absolute nerve, with a will of iron, one who knew his own mind and indulged in no illusions as to the difficulties in the way of carrying out his purposes.
On August 3rd, Frick's newborn son died. A link between the battle and the infant's death formed in the public's mind. It brought sympathy to the grieving father, whose own life had been endangered.